Hey guys, it's Kurt from Wersi Club USA. Let's go ahead and pick up where we left in the last video, where we imported Jive. Remember, was a new style that we got out of the IM Music style pack, and we imported it. So let's say you've listened to it and maybe the drums are too loud, or you'd like a different bass sound or whatever. Maybe you like it overall, but you'd like to make a few changes. So we're going to click on Mixer. We're going to ignore this very first screen that comes up. And what we're interested in is the Style Edit function. So let's click on the little wheels. Very busy screen, but don't let it scare you. First of all, let's ignore everything over here in the blue-green area. I guess it's blue and green. So we're going to ignore all of that. Now, what you will recognize up top is the buttons that you have on the rhythm unit of the organ. Intro 1, 2, 3, variations A, B, C, and D. Remember I told you most of these, as a matter of fact, I think all of them, do not have break 2. So notice break 2 is kind of grayed out and you can't click on it. But notice here, you can click on these different sections of the style to listen to them. Over here, if you hit play cycle, it'll just keep repeating whatever it is you've got selected. So let's just pretend we have intro 2 selected, and you hit play cycle, and intro 2 will just keep playing over and over and over, allowing you to make changes here and listen to it as you're making the changes. So what kind of changes can we make? Let's go into variation A. So the main pattern of the rhythm. Notice across the top you see different instruments that are selected, drum kits, and see there are two different drum kits, drum 1 and drum 2. And in this case, they've got two different kits selected. Your bass part, right? And then up to 5 accompaniment parts. Notice in this particular one, let's see, variation A doesn't have an accompaniment 5 part. Let's see if we go here all the way. It doesn't look like, yeah, here we go. Ending 3 actually does have accompaniment 5 parts. And I can tell that because there's an instrument selected and the volume was turned up. And if we go back to variation A, notice no sound is selected and there's no volume. So anyway, let's say that we would like to use a different bass sound in variation A. Simply highlight the bass, and up comes all the different bass sounds that are in your instrument. And of course, this is the same screen you've seen before. You can filter it by acoustic basses and pedal basses and whatever it is you want. So we'll just pretend that we're going to pick this one for a change. We'll hit enter, and now we've changed that bass sound. We can now adjust the volume if we want in relation to the others. And the other thing you can also try is if you want to hit solo, you can just listen to the bass part without all the other stuff playing to make sure you're happy with what you're hearing with whatever sound that you've selected. The other thing that you want to notice is if you hit edit, up comes a screen where you can change the octave, right? Raise an octave, lower an octave, which makes a big difference in how some of the patterns sound. And of course, adding reverb, chorus, delay, panning, all of those things you can change for the bass sound in this style that we've just imported. Last thing you want to be aware of is this Edit All Parts button. So what we just did, we modified the bass sound on variation A. If we go to variation B, notice it switched back to the bass that was originally in the rhythm. So if you want to make the change consistent, Edit All Parts, check that. And now let's change this again just so you can see that it works. So I'm going to pick slap bass this time. And now variation A has a slap bass, variation B has a slap bass, and C, and so on and so forth. If I click Ending 1, notice it's also got slap bass. So again, depending on what you want to do, you can modify just one of the selected parts or all the parts turn off the parts. Another thing you might find that you want to do is maybe you don't like the guitar part at all. Well, just turn the volume down, and when you save the rhythm, the guitar part will no longer play. So after you've made all your adjustments, click Save, and it's going to pick a location for you. I'm not going to save this one because I don't want to modify the original one. So you could do that, or if you'd like, you could pick a new location, give it a new name, and save it there. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let's say Jive. We'll just call it Test. Okay. Let's hit Enter, and I want to save that. I'll just put it at the very bottom so I can find it later. And I'm going to hit Save. And now that's been saved as Jive Test, and I haven't messed up my original one that's still there. So again, import these styles, take a listen to them. If you don't like what you hear, modify it a little bit. If you still don't like it, remember you can just delete them. Hope you find these enjoyable.